Welcome to the Power of Quiet. Now, we've all done this before. We went into a relationship and decided to go all in. We opened ourselves up. We opened up our heart. We allowed ourselves to be exposed and vulnerable. And we got our heart shredded to pieces for it. Or we got taken advantage of. And that left us feeling like, hey, I'm never going to do that again. And we made a decision to some degree to close ourselves off, to protect ourselves. So that's what I want to take a look at here, to actually bust the myth that being open and allowing yourself to be vulnerable puts you in a weaker position, because that isn't true. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Being open and being vulnerable, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, exposes you to your own inner strength. And here's why. See, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you decide to shut yourself off, to protect yourself by closing yourself off from another person or from a relationship or from an experience, the exact same way, you're closing yourself off from your own inner power and inner happiness. You see that? It's obvious when you look at it. When you shut yourself off, you're shutting off from feeling your real self. And in terms of relationships, if you allow yourself to be more open, more vulnerable, this creates a better relationship, because you can go deeper in your connection with your partner and explore more love, more oneness together. So this is something that's definitely worth looking at. Now, why is it so scary to open yourself up and to be vulnerable? And why do we decide to keep part of ourselves closed off and not let anybody see it? Well, there is a sense. I think one of our greatest fears here is that, if I let anybody see the real me and my most inner secrets, they're not going to like it. They're going to judge me. They're going to reject me. Now, ironically, as we were looking at here, it's really the opposite. It's completely different than what we're thinking about. And this has actually been proven scientifically. A study at Stony Brook University worked with couples who are in long-term relationships. I'm talking a decade or more. And those couples that maintained healthy and strong relationships, they attribute it to a number of factors, but one of them is particularly interesting here. What they attributed their success in maintaining connection and deep love and having a relationship that was always engaging and rewarding and present and in the moment. The thing that they attributed to was taking care of their own happiness, being responsible for themselves and their own happiness. Now, this is something that's very interesting and very powerful. And let's look at it in terms of having this fear and wanting to protect yourself and close yourself off. You see, if you have the fear of being vulnerable, what's that about? What's your mind telling you? Your mind's telling you that, well, if you let go of the fear, if you open up and be vulnerable, then you could end up unhappy. Something bad could happen. But look, closing yourself off, that's not a nice feeling, is it? And holding on to the fear is not a nice feeling either, right? Now, who's doing this? And if you have fear, whose fear is this? It's all you. You're doing it. You're the owner here. So wouldn't it be a smart decision to let go of the fear? If the fear is causing you discomfort and causing you misery and unhappiness, then just drop the fear. Why not be happy? And why not be happy all the time? Regardless of if you're in a relationship or not. See, happiness is up to you, regardless of what's going on around you. And it starts right here with letting this fear go. Because if you're holding on to fear right now you have an uncomfortable feeling. So just bring up any fear that you have about exposing yourself in a relationship. You may have past experiences, or you may have a feeling of insecurity. You know, what if they don't like me? Or what if what's inside isn't good enough? So just welcome up that fear. Now, this fear that you're looking at, if you measured it on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most fearful, 0 being the least fearful, just measure right now, see where you're at. And see if you've been resisting this fear, like you don't like it. And you've been saying no to the fear. Now, when you do this, when you say no to it, that certainly doesn't make the fear go away. So how about making a smart decision now? Instead of saying no to that fear, just look at it and say yes to that fear. Just say yes to it. And say yes to that fear even more. And say yes to that fear even more. And say yes to that fear even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. Now look at the fear. Just look right at it and say, I love you, fear. I love you. I really, really love you. I love you unconditionally. I just love you. I really love you. Now notice how you feel. See if you feel lighter. And see if you move down on that scale of 0 to 10. See if you feel less fearful. All right? Now, welcome up some more fear. So you've got some movement going. You're moving in a positive direction now. So invite up some more. Now you're the owner of this fear, right? It belongs to you. So just welcome it up. And since you're the owner, can you just let it go? It's your fear. Just let it go. Hand it over to beingness. Just hand it over to quiet. And let it go even more. And even more. Because you don't need to hold on to that fear. It doesn't protect you. It doesn't do anything except cause you pain. And you're holding on to it. So just let it go even more. And even more. Bring it up and let it go even more. And 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 how's this feel? See, the more fear you let go of, the greater it feels, right? And this is your inner happiness that's coming out. It was covered up by the fear. So isn't it silly to keep the fear and to reject the fears, keeping it, when all that happiness that you're looking for is right behind it? Just let that fear go and you can be happy all the time. And when you're happy like this, isn't this the key to having a successful relationship? Because when you're in a place where you take care of your own happiness, what can somebody else do to you? What can they take from you when you're the master of your own happiness? And the only reason why you aren't feeling it is if you're covering it up by feelings like this fear, which is silly to hold on to. Also, when you let all this fear go and you just come from a place of happiness all the time, look at what you bring into a relationship. So you bring confidence. You bring a sense of power. You know, you're not being an intimidated little person, closed off. You're really showing up. And guess what? Your partner feels that. And if you bring confidence into your relationship, boy, they like that, don't they? And that allows them, it triggers their confidence, allows them to show up. And now, together, you can lift each other up. And isn't this the recipe for a truly meaningful and successful relationship where you lift each other up into higher and higher places? So start with you. And you can start with a brand new course that I'm doing called the 6-week Conscious Couple Relationships course. I'm going to show you how to look for, spot all that fear and all the other stuff where you're using to close yourself off and drop that stuff so the real you can show up and you feel confident and happiness in yourself. And then you can bring that into a relationship. I'm going to show you how to have wonderful, connected, and deeply satisfying relationships. Show you how to do it yourself. So check it out. Click below. Find out more and join me on this brand new course. You're really going to like this one.